What is the mark of a harlot? There's a very beautiful poem that I have read which goes something like this. The church and the world walked far apart on the changing shores of time. The world was singing a giddy song, and the church a hymn sublime. Come walk with me, the world said. Change your dress for something fanciful like mine, instead of that simple thing you're wearing. And initially the church said, no. But gradually the world said, come on, I will give you gold, and I will give you this, and I will give you that. And gradually this wonderful, pure bride of Christ that walked in simplicity moved closer to accept the things the world suggested. Come watch my movies, and come watch this and watch that. It's not sudden. No. Suddenly, if you do something, immediately it looks pretty bad. It's a gradual merging of the church and the world. And it's almost so slow that it's just, it's like an aeroplane dropping about 1 foot in 1 hour. In 1 hour, if an airplane drops 1 foot, you don't even notice it. And then another foot, and then another foot. But you know where it's headed, for a crash. Some move pretty fast, some slowly. In CFC, many glory that we're not worldly. I think it's just a matter of time. We haven't crashed yet. Maybe your rate of fall is not as fast as in some other churches. But ask yourself. I want to say to you, dear brothers and sisters, don't look at any church as your example. Don't look at any person unless you see in that person the spirit of the bride of Christ. So when it says here, this 144,000 did not defile themselves with Babylon, all the invitations of the world they stayed away from. Multitudes went, but this small group said no. They looked odd. Everybody makes fun of them. Why are you so? You're legalistic. That's the word to scare people nowadays. If you want to scare somebody today, just say, you're legalistic. Am I legalistic? Okay, I'll do whatever you say. You know how many people have tried that on me? You can try it on me all your life. You're not going to make me worldly by saying I'm legalistic. Do you know how many people I have met who to avoid the label legalistic, they become worldly. And the devil's quite happy. Legalism is serious. But I tell you, it's no better than worldliness. And the tragedy in Christendom is there are legalists and there are worldly people. What was Jesus? He was not legalistic, he was not worldly. And that is the narrow path between these two. The church has often suffered from what I call pendulumitis. We're legalistic, we say, we were wrong, and swing like a pendulum, say we are free from legalism. You've just fallen over the cliff the other side. First you had fallen over this side, you come up from there and fall over the other side, and the devil says, I don't care which side you fall over. But these were wise. They stayed apart from the world, the spirit of the world. See, that's harlotry, is that, where you claim to be engaged to Christ, but your aim is not to please Christ, but to please your friends. You college boys and girls, when you want to talk about the things your folks of your age want to talk about, and would you change the conversation if Jesus suddenly came into that group that you're talking? Or would you continue speaking the same way? You know, nowadays a lot of men are working with women in their workplace. And I say, be very careful about speaking in a jovial way with people of the opposite sex, boys with girls or girls with boys. I say, how to find out? Well, if you're married and you're a man and you're talking very freely with some woman at the office, ask yourself this question. Supposing this moment my wife came right here into this room, would you continue to speak in the same way? Then you're okay. Or would you have to change your way and concentrate on your work now? Then you know that it's wrong. Or if you're sitting around with your friends in school or college or with certain worldly believers, and you're talking and joking and some godly brother suddenly comes into the room, would you continue? I'm not talking about a legalist. I'm talking about a godly brother who's not a legalist, comes in the room. Would you continue to talk about those things, or would you have to change the subject? You change the subject when a godly brother comes into the room, and you don't have to change the subject when Jesus himself is in the room all the time. Then you don't believe that God is there. You don't believe God is everywhere. Theoretically, we all believe God is everywhere. If I were to ask you, how many of you believe God is everywhere? We'll all raise our hands. How many of you practically live acknowledging that God is everywhere? The answer is probably 10%. That's the difference. So there's a very small number that really who, like it says here in verse 4, Revelation 14, they follow the Lamb wherever he goes. You see, that means if in a particular situation you feel that Jesus is going this way and your friends are going this way, you follow the Lamb. There's nothing wrong in watching certain television programs. Make sure it's the programs which Jesus is watching. If Jesus is turning to this channel and your friends are turning to this channel, follow the Lamb wherever he goes. That's the point. In every situation, follow the Lamb wherever he goes. In this situation, which direction would Jesus go? Which channel would he press the remote into? Okay. Everything in life is like that. What would he talk about? That's what I'm going to do. Follow the Lamb wherever he goes. It's a very small number. These are the people who were purchased from the earth. Verse 3. That means they are not earth dwellers. They came up to heaven. And not only purchased from the earth, they were not occupied with things of earth. It also says they were purchased from men. That's another thing. That means they were freed from man's opinions. They were not only freed from the earth, they were freed from man's opinions. You can be freed from earthly things and yet not be freed from man's opinions. You know, a lot of these sannyasis who say we've given up everything, we don't have any property, we don't have anything. But they are not freed from man's opinions. They want everybody to think they are holy, right? That's a deception. You have to be freed not only from earthly things, you have to be freed from man's opinion. There are two things mentioned here. Freed from the earth, freed from men. And they become the first fruits to God and to the Lamb. And one characteristic of them was no lie was found in their mouth. He doesn't say they were perfect. They were blameless. Do you know the difference between blameless and perfect? World of difference. Only God is perfect. Jesus was perfect. The Apostle Paul said, I'm not yet perfect. I'm pressing on to perfection.